Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we offer first impressions of new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover a selection of titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and DriveThruRPG each week. The titles are presented in alphabetical order, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel, but you can also support us by purchasing one of our best-selling books. Our newest release, Dragonlance Companion, offers 180 pages for players and DMs to bring the magical world of Krynn to life. And like many of our books, it's available in hardcover and digital format. Our Swarms of the Multiverse offers over 70 brand new creatures, including their associated swarms, instructions on how to make your own balanced swarms, and lots of bonus materials such as 4 new demi-planes. Our Feywild Companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs alike. Also, our book, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, contains over 50 pages of dragon-themed player options, including a subclass for each class and much more. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules in our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take potions to the next level in your game. Please support the channel by purchasing our books using the links in the video description. Before we talk about our new releases, we got to talk about our exclusive discount, and it is Magic Item Menagerie Volume 3, and it is from Peter Carmichael and Animancy Press. It's normally $5, but with our Splinterverse discount program, we're bringing it to you at half off, so around $2.50 for this, but only for the first 25 purchases. So you got to act fast so you don't lose your chance to grab one of those spots and get this book at a screaming deal. It includes mystery-provoking must-have magic items, including mirrors, orbs, animal handling accessories, clothing items, spell foci, and much more. You can see some of the artwork and descriptions here. Looks pretty fun. We're going to look inside and show you what else is in there. So the magic items, there's a bunch of them with fun names like Abyssal Mirror, Bard's Trichome, Bowl of Beast Feeding. Goes all the way down to Wand of Good Forestry. Then you get the Arc Discharge cantrip as well, which is really nice. So looking at inside, we see the artwork that accompanies the different items. So you got a picture of the Abyssal Mirror here, and you got the Bowl of Beast Feeding, and a bunch of fun stuff in here. So we're going to just pick a couple items to read for you, and then hopefully you'll grab this while you can and get to read them all. So you've got the Lightning Drift Globe. It's a wondrous item rare. And it says, this sphere of thick crystal arcs faintly with electricity on the inside and weighs 1 pound. The orb can move with you at a point that is no more than 5 feet off the ground and within 60 feet of you, provided the correct command word is used. If you are within range of it, you can speak another of its 3 command words and cause it to emanate the Dancing Lights cantrip until you speak that command word and not requiring your concentration or the lightning bolt spell. Once used, the lightning bolt effect can't be used again until the next dawn. You can mentally command it to make course corrections as needed. However, the Lightning Drift Globe's Dancing Lights effect ends and it comes to a gentle rest on the ground if you move beyond 60 feet of it. So you got to keep an eye on this thing, but it's going to give you lightning and dancing lights. So that's cool. Let's see. Garb of Night. It's uncommon. And it says, this fancy outerwear grants the wearer a +1 bonus to their AC, dark vision out to a range of 60 feet, and the ability to cast the Dancing Lights cantrip without using concentration. So that's good. And you've got Earring of Insight. It says, this intricately crafted silver eye earring grants the wearer blindside out to a range of 60 feet or an additional 60 feet if you have blindside already, and advantage on insight checks. The Earring of Insight can be used to cast the Zone of Truth spell with or without expending a spell slot. Once it has been used to cast the Zone of Truth spell without expending a spell slot, it can't be used again to cast the spell without a spell slot until dawn. So, fun stuff going on in here. These names are really good. I like the names of these things. So the Bowl of Beast Feeding, this fancifully painted bronze and silver food bowl magically produces 1 pound of animal feed per day, and a beast that spends 1 minute eating it recovers 10 hit points and has its nutritional needs met for 24 hours. That would be really handy for anyone with a mount or some sort of beast to feed. And it's a common item, so pretty cool. Yeah, and we're just scratching the surface. As I said, there's a ton of items in here. They're hyperlinked, so you can jump to them quickly from the table of contents. And it's 50% off for only 25 purchasers. So you want to make sure you get your copy before it's too late. So look for it in the timestamps. It's going to be the first book in the timestamps, or it's going to be in the pinned comment in the alphabetical list under Magic Item Menagerie Volume 3. Find it and click it. All right. Our first new release is Aboard the Cogwork Citadel with this lovely cover from 𝘽𝙤𝙘𝙤, and it's $7.95 for 27 pages, which I think is a great price. And 𝘽𝙤𝙘𝙤 always does such good work. The writing is great, the art is great. I just really am a big fan. It says the mysterious and elusive Cogwork Citadel finally reveals itself after centuries of roaming throughout the lawful plane of Axiom. Board the roaming city and learn of its purpose and how their work, mundane as it first appears, is crucial for the safety of order in the cosmos. Attune to the tempo of the Citadel and use its embodiment of order to empower your strikes. Experience unique encounters with the Cogwork creatures aboard. So you get lore, 8 pages of that, 12 adventure hooks and 8 encounters, 15 Cogwork items, from the tiny Cogwork creature companions to the 3 legendary swords of the Grand Clock. You also get 13 Cogwork and lawful monsters, from the oddly regular shapes of the 𝙤𝙤𝙀𝙀 to the rigid race of Cogwork polymagigs. So fun stuff as usual. And you can see, just looking down here below, there's all these other covers of great work from 𝘽𝙤𝙘𝙀𝙀. So I hope you are following 𝘽𝙤𝙀𝙀𝙀 and checking out their work, because it's wonderful. So looking in here, you get to see all the information about the Cogwork Citadel itself. So this is a location you can set a campaign in. It's got adventure hooks, etc. Then you've got all these items like the hands of the 𝘤𝙤𝙀𝙀 clock, the coglings, the magic items, and then you've got foes. We talked about those 𝙤𝙤𝙀𝙀𝙀 and the polymagigs, but then there's even Cogwork Citadel agents like the Adjudicator, and the Calibrators to encounter as well. So I always like these books from 𝘽𝙤𝙀𝙀𝙀 because they just have this really nice mixture of things. It's not too much, it's not too little, it's just the right amount to kind of let you take it and run with it and really flesh out what's provided. So here you get the intro to the Cogwork Citadel. We'll read some of that in a minute. And then you can see even more lore as you scroll through, finding out about the different areas of the location, as well as, just additional background that you need to really play this city out with your players. So it says, the hunter watches the approaching massive steam cloud, its hazy form obscuring a mountainous silhouette. The hunter grips a spear and braces for impact, perhaps a gnash of javelin teeth or swipe of sword claws, but the silhouette instead reveals a bastion of brass and bronze propelled by wheels. Rotating gears turn the massive construct as it moves, bringing tall, curved, and slender towers into view. From atop the bulwark walls, strange geometric creatures wave and repel off the edge, landing in perfect formation around the stunned hunter. Oddly, the creatures don't attack. They instead draw arcane instruments and begin inspecting, measuring, and calibrating the world. So what a sight that is, right? So you see this, the beginnings of something that you think, especially if you're kind of primitive, you think is a creature, and then it's as it rises above the sort of horizon, you see that it's a mechanical place because it's so massive. And then there's these little creatures that jump down and start scanning things and investigating. I mean, that would be a really fun first experience for a party to see that. It says, this compendium centers on all things Cogwork, from the Cogwork Citadel and the Bureau of Fundamental Law that runs it, to the Cogwork items and creatures an adventurer may discover. The book contains descriptions, locations, and even adventure hooks to enrich and explore any campaign. So it says, the mysterious Citadel is known by many names across the plains, as Azrael, the wandering forest in the distant horizons of the Glimmer Reach, as the Hellfire Machination in the depths of the Fernal Plains, and as Chronopolis among the heavenly celestials. Embellished stories depict a place that is both alive and dead, both paradise and hell. In reality, the Cogwork Citadel is simply a base of operations for the Bureau of Fundamental Law, a clandestine agency founded with the sole crucial imperative to define and maintain the fundamental laws of the cosmos. The Citadel was built with this purpose in mind, designed with features that can protect or reposition the city in times of crises. It even saw active participation during the First and Second Discordant Wars between the forces of order and chaos, though stories of those conflicts have since faded to obscurity. That is just as well as the Bureau continues its endless work in peace. So, really cool that there's like a purpose behind this city, and that there's a connection to the deeper 𝘬𝙁𝙗 lore. 𝘬𝙁𝙗's books are really great with lore. There's so many pieces of lore and they work together. So some of these things, we've talked about the Glimmerreach, I think, before in some of the past books. So it's nice to see that 𝘬𝙁𝙗 is weaving all of these things together. Of course, you don't have to use all that. You can use what works for your campaign, but it's nice that it's there, and that, if you're buying the series at these reasonable prices, you're going to get such good information that weaves together. So very, very cool. So let's read one little more section here about the aviary post. It says, on the second tier of the Citadel, a bronze-arched and columned building houses flocks of cogling birds of all sorts and types, trained to serve as the Citadel's many messengers. An arched logo painted in the aviary's signature red hue identifies the building, as do the massive clusters of birds with heads painted in the same color. They can be seen circling the Citadel, delivering various papers and letters, as well as thin copper plates, a traditional writing material still in use today. So again, very visual. You're getting to understand and see something with just words here. So you can read that to your players. You can paraphrase it however you want to do it. But it talks about, even you can see all the bold text on the left here, all the different monsters that you might encounter in this area. So everything you need to really set some adventures here and have some characters going there. And the beauty is this thing travels, so you can have it show up anywhere. You can have it in the Forgotten Realms or whatever setting, your homebrew setting, and it wouldn't be out of place because this thing travels and is trying to study the cosmos, basically. So I think you should look for it in the video description links and add it to your collection. It is aboard the Cogwork Citadel. Give it a click. Next, we have Dark Arts of Love from Immersive Adventuring, and there's no reason not to add this one to your collection because it is $0. You can get it completely for free. There's not even an option to pay for it. It's 5 pages by Nicola Lubrick, and it's set in a ruined magical academy. It doubles as a toolbox with encounters and NPCs to support you running a gothic horror love story. So you get 16 encounters, 1 high-resolution map with day and night versions, and then 4 NPC outlines as well. So you can see some of the artwork here. So pretty fun. It says, secluded in a hilly woodland are the remains of a magical academy named after its founder, Julianus Bexington. The moss-covered walls hide treasures and secrets, including a love triangle between 2 ghosts and a goddess chimera. The party explores the ruins, discovers parts of its mystery, collects any treasures they can, and tries to escape with their lives. So looking inside, you get the overview, you get to find out about the Julianus Academy, and then, as usual with immersive adventuring, there's this structured box for the encounters that you see on the right here, where if it's a down note, it's gonna bring sort of trouble to the adventurers. It's a minus sign. If it's going to improve their situation or make things happier, it's going to be a plus sign. And then you get the letters on the tabs here to say, like, S for social encounter, C for combat, E for exploration, etc. And then the number on the far right is for the location on the map. And then it talks about how to pace a horror adventure. And then you see the maps with the encounters marked on them. And then, of course, you get the unmarked maps that you can use to have the party adventure through. So just looking at encounter number 1 here, it says, scene, a few animal bones follow the trail that leads to a cave where 2 plus 1d4 frail wolves rest. And it says, details, a wolf is host to a parasitic giant centipede. If slain, the centipede rises from its corpse. So it naturally has a C and a minus here to indicate, things could go bad if you go there, and it's going to be combat. And I like this notion that there's these wolves that are like, why are they so frail? And then if you kill them, you're going to find out why. There's a giant centipede somehow inside the wolf. And then number 2, it says, seeing the round tower holds a grand library with hundreds of ruined books. Details, investigation reveals 1d4 magic scrolls and 20 plus 1d20 preserved books. So yeah, you might need a list of titles, which you can get from various books or generators online. But yeah, you could create a bunch of books there that could be found. But yeah, it just goes through a bunch of these, and then you've got more of those down here with different places to visit. And as the description said, night and day versions of these maps, so you can display these without all the markings on it, and let the party really explore, because there's so many encounters in here. There's 16 different ones that they can find all of it. So I think it'd be a fun little one shot or a couple sessions, and why not grab it even just as inspiration when it's 100% free? So look for it in the video description links under Dark Arts of Love and give it a click. Next we have Dungeon Backdrop Hidden Redoubt of Gilak Urser from Raging Swan Press, and it's for OSR $3.75 for this book for 15 pages. And with Raging Swan Press, they tend to do variations. So I noticed there's also, I think, a Pathfinder version of this particular book. So if you're playing other systems, you can look for those. Just search for the title or go to Raging Swan Press and find out more. But it says, hidden for long years and wreathed in legendary, the hidden redoubt of Gilak Urser ever looms large in treasure seekers' dreams. Variously described as a pirate or adventurer in myths and folklore, Gilak Urser is universally thought to have been fabulously wealthy. His hidden lair and his treasure hoard has never been found until now. So that gives you the background. But what's interesting is this is what's called a dungeon backdrop. It's a series that Raging Swan Press does. And it says, it's what is that? What is a dungeon backdrop? It says, you are a GM, but you are busy. You want to write your own modules, but you just don't have the time, and you don't want to use commercial ones. You want to make the campaign your own. That's where the dungeon backdrop line comes in. Each dungeon backdrop presents a fully fleshed out and lovingly detailed self-contained dungeon ready for you to use as you see fit. You can stock it with your own monsters and perhaps their treasure, decide their backstory, and you're good to go. So you can easily absorb this into any fantasy campaign. So you get a description of the dungeon, why it's there, but then you can populate it to your liking. So it's a nice blend for those that want to feel like they're homebrewing, but they just don't have the time to homebrew literally everything, right? So I think it's a really valuable series. So you can see, gives you, again, talks about what backdrops are, and then it talks about the adventure, whispers, rumors, the surrounding areas. If you need information for that, of course you could put other information there if you want to place it somewhere else. Then you got notable locations, so generic features of the place, dressing, and then things that you can find in there, like different locations like the outer cave, the guard chamber, etc. And then the aftermath, resolving some of the adventure hooks, as well as suggestions for further adventurers. So fun stuff. So yeah, we'll come up here and look at a little bit of this. But what I always love about Raging Swan stuff when I've looked at it is there's almost always tables of things that you can use. So there's a table of rumors here. There's some wilderness dressing that you can use. And, you're not going to use all 10. So the beauty is there's some reusability, because you can, with the same exact party, you can take some of this wilderness dressing you didn't use for the time that you run through this and use it for something else. Just put a check mark next to it or something if you printed it out and say, oh, this is the one I read. And then, use the rest for other things. Same with the things to find, right? Maybe you don't use all those things, so you use them elsewhere. And throughout, you're seeing opportunities to roll for things, right? Whether it's things to find, dungeon dressing, etc. You've got a map in here. You get the notes and the watchers, the outer cave, inner cave, all of that stuff. So fun. Let's go back up and read a little bit about Urser here, because I think it's a fun character. says, who is 𝙁𝙗 Urser? Before this, using this dungeon backdrop, you must decide who 𝙁𝙗 Urser was. Whoever he was, legends of his wealth and success have endured and grown over the years. Many adventurers and treasure hunters yet search for clues to the hidden redoubt's location. So there's multiple choice. So if you have multiple groups you're running, or if you're a pro DM, you would have the option here to get going with these and try one with one group and then try a different one with a different group. So the first option says 𝙁𝙗 Urser was an adventurer who made too many enemies, a powerful force for good. 𝙁𝙗 fought and slew many evil foes in his long and storied career. He slew pirate captains, bandit lords, savage humanoid chieftains, foul necromancers, and evil high priests. So this guy was quite busy as an adventurer. His success, however, grew too great, and evil minions conspired to bring about his doom. Learning of the plot, he fled to a remote place and built his hidden redoubt. 𝙁𝙗 was shortly thereafter slain in a cunningly wrought ambush, and the hidden redoubt's location was lost. So it's perfect. But he could also be a pirate or a mysterious traveler. I'll let you read those on your own. And then, of course, there's a bunch of rumors that go along with 𝙁𝙗. So perfect to weave those in. You could start weaving those in now, and then when you get to the dungeon, it makes sense, right? Oh, that rumor we heard about that 𝙁𝙗 guy. Oh, yeah. We must have found his hidden redoubt. So you got the wilderness dressing, things like clumps of glistening greenish seaweed undulate on the ocean swell. Tiny crabs cling to some of the clumps. Yeah, that's very descriptive. Sunlight breaks through the clouds to shimmer on a small part of the sea. The shimmering light highlights the gloom surrounding the rest of the locality. So yeah, great stuff to use. And then you've got things like an abandoned rowboat floats in the surf a few dozen yards from the shore. The boat's oars lie in the bottom of the boat next to an empty bag and water skin. So things to find, and then you've got all the locations that you can go to. You know, you got the beach ward, the barracks, the guard chamber, all of that stuff. So really, really cool. I think you're gonna have just a good time traveling through this dungeon and trying to figure out, you know, what's going on in this hidden redoubt. You know, it's really, really cool. All right, I hope you look for it in the video description. It's under Dungeon Backdrop, Hidden Redoubt of 𝙁𝙗 Urser. Give it a click. Next, we have Fernsby's Museum of Outlandish Oddities, a 5th edition adventure from Cheat and Fair Games and author Andrew Hand. It's $4.99 for 10 pages. And it says, in this 5e murder mystery one-shot, the party is asked to help solve a closed-door murder in the local history museum. The adventure can be dropped into any campaign. While the focus of this module is investigation, there are enough surprises in combat to keep your bloodthirsty players off their phones. The adventure is written for a party of 4 second-level characters or a party of first-level power gamers. So that's nice. You have some options there. It says it's intended for use with 5th edition. And it says you receive an 8-page PDF, a printable high-resolution map of the museum, as well as cherished memories with friends around the gaming table. So I love the cover to this. I think it's evocative of what you might experience with this museum. So great artwork there. So looking inside, it says Fernsby's Museum of Outlandish Oddities is designed for 4 to 6 characters at second level. And then it says the players are hired by Aloysius Fernsby to solve the murder of an employee named Jen Summer. And then I won't read the DM only stuff so I don't spoil things. It says the old gnome has a few rules that he asks the party to follow in order to be paid. No fire, mundane, or magical is permitted in the museum. Fernsby worries that the collection will be destroyed and he'll be out of a job. The items on display are not to be touched or disturbed. Fernsby takes great pride in the museum and feels that each of its displays is worth significant historical value. So I love that because, you know, that's an interesting challenge. It's almost like a skill challenge without the roles, because you're going, as you go through the adventure, you're going to have to be cognizant of, okay, that spell I can't use. It's got a lot of fire, you know. Like Fireball, for example, right? And I gotta position myself on the map away from the objects of art so that I don't mess them up. And maybe there'll be some dramatic saves. Somebody will bump into something, and somebody's gonna have to dive to cradle this bust as it falls so that it doesn't hit the ground and break. So anyway, there's questioning that happens in here as you investigate, because the body is a small body of a halfling that lays face down on the floor. His arms are out to his sides, and he appears to have been running away when he died. If you make a successful medicine check, you find out that the halfling died from blunt trauma to the head, neck, and body. If you make a successful perception check, there's a fine powder on the body, a sticky residue of unidentified origin. So those are some clues you can pick up. And there's some adventure hooks here that you can use as well. It says, allow the PCs to explore the museum's interior at their leisure. Do not reveal the mimic's true nature until the end of the adventure. While the party investigates, a crew of thieves sneak into the museum trying to loot the new exhibit. The thieves have nothing to do with Jin's murder. Use one bandit per PC, and they flee if clearly outmatched. So it looks like you're going to be dealing with a mimic. You're dealing with bandits. And I like that they're kind of throwing them in the mix, because it's almost like a red herring. You could think that the bandits are why everything went south for this halfling, but in truth, it's not. It's because of a mimic. So this is cool, this little map with all the exhibits. You've got like sort of a dragon, skeleton, looks like maybe an owlbear in the other corner, some coffins. You can have fun figuring out what's in these coffins too. Yeah, I love this. It just looks really cool. And they got a wyvern. Oh, it's a wyvern skeleton, not a dragon. That makes more sense. Smaller. Mummies. And then a wounded mimic. Yeah, this could be a lot of fun, and I love the cover. So please check it out. It's in the links below under Fernsby's Museum of Outlandish Oddities. Give it a click. Next, we have The Inn at the Crossways from Dice Monkey. It's on sale for 99 cents, normally $1.99. Author Mark Meredith. It's 11 pages, and it's system neutral. It says, nestled along the intersection of two large highways is the Inn at the Crossways. Brendan Stanway, having purchased the rundown way station years ago, has turned the Inn at the Crossways into a hub of life on the edge of civilization. Famed for his fine ales, excellent food, it is a welcome place even in dark times. This book features a collection of tables and adventure seeds to spark your mind and inspire you to further adventure. So it's got food, drink, NPCs, rumors, black market items, weapons, and songs for your adventurers. Whether you're playing Pathfinders, Zweihander, Dungeons and Dragons, whatever. So looking inside, you can see it gives you sort of the flavor text for the location, and then it talks about the meals. So it goes through the different options, everything from roasted chicken with eldest elven herbs and spices, all the way down to white, red, and black frosted cookies. And there's 12 different food items, so that's a healthy assortment. And then you get the soup of the day, 6 different options for that, and then 6 different options for the drinks. And then you get some of the patrons. So you get Sir Walter, Knight of the Mace. Sir Walter is a tall, muscular man with short, dark hair and piercing blue eyes. He has a chiseled jawline and a few scars on his face and hands, evidence of many hands. Sorry, I'm butchering that. He has a few scars on his face and hands, which is evidence of his many battles. He wears a gleaming suit of armor and nurses a mug of ale. Sir Walter always insists on paying for the drinks of those he's talking to, and will challenge anyone who tries to argue with him. So yeah, that could be a fun character to encounter, and I like the options chosen for how this person behaves, because it kind of fits like a knight would want to be courteous and pay for drinks and would have scars and stuff, so it all makes sense to me. You got a grizzled human pirate, a magnificent character who's a performer, like a singer and stuff, and then you've got a white robe magi, a pathfinder, a merchant, displaced noble, etc. So let's read about Kata the Magnificent, the singer. This woman has a lively tune and is happily sipping a pint of cider. She is always composing new songs and can't resist the opportunity to perform for a captive audience. She has a lean, agile build, flowing, long, curly hair, and a bright, friendly smile. She is always full of energy and is always ready to perform for anyone who will listen. So yeah, I love these characters, and you can use them in any tavern. It doesn't have to be the Inn at the Crossways. It can be any tavern, anywhere you need people. You're always going to need them. So for 99 cents to get some different people, some different menu items, some rumors, some weapons. I mean, we're just scratching the surface. We only got to look at a few pages, and there's 11 pages in here. So you're going to get weapons, songs, other things in here as well for 99 cents. So you're always going to have to go back to town. You're always going to have to go to some tavern. Sometimes you get tired of the same tavern. Something happens at the tavern, it burns down, or you've upset the proprietors, and so now you need to find another tavern, right? So just having these things on hand to weave into your story instead of having to prep everything. Even the best DMs that prep literally everything, they're going to have a week where something crazy happens and they just can't prep as much. They have to last minute throw everything together or skip the week, right? And so having little books like this for 99 cents on hand are crazy good for saving you that prep time. So look for it in the video description links under In at the Crossways and give it a click. Next, we have Keys and Treasure Chests from Diego Pisa Artworks, and it is system neutral, 51 pages. And I always love looking at Diego's work because it is just stunning, and it's art and text by Diego. So we're just scrolling here so you can see, some of the beautiful stuff you're going to get in this. This focuses on special containers and their keys with many creative ideas and inspiration to breathe even more life into your sessions. In addition to chests and keys, you'll find mysterious urns, coffers, cabinets, and other containers that can hide interesting items. This book goes beyond just describing each object and its dangers, but tells the story of their creation, providing a solid foundation for their existence in your game. So you get 25 new creations, lore about the world of treasure chests and their crafters, ideas for creating your own. So fun stuff. And here's even a workshop where this stuff goes on. You got the planner chest. Here is another example. This stuff is gorgeous. And there's so many things that could be hidden inside these little coffers. A potion, a key to some other thing, a notebook. Whatever needs to be hidden, even maybe a small monster could be in there, right? So love the visual of these. Look at how distinctly different they all are. You can almost have trading cards with each of these on it and collect them all, right? Because they're just so cool looking. You get the introduction, and it gives you how to use the treasure chests in your games. You can tweak them, all of that stuff. And then it gets into even more stunning artwork as it talks about this one chest, right? Okay, so we're getting one chest that we're going to get all this information about. So you get the picture of the chest, which has kind of like all these swords and a skull here, and then you got a really cool looking key, and then you've got the swords, and it looks like the swords are going to be involved in things. And then it gives you all this information. There's even points of interest on the chest that are going to be described here. So this is like 2 pages. Actually 3 if you consider the artwork a page. 3 pages on the chest. So you're going to get all this information about its defenses and this thing called the Chain Warden. And then it goes into the next one, Chest of Anazarath. And then you can see this one's also going to get a ton of information. So I love this. I love detail about objects. I wrote a whole book on potions and did similar things. So this book would work great with that book. So love this. So let's read a little bit about the Chest of the Indra-Roar. It says, love, kindness, and friendship were words whose meaning he had distanced himself from since he had killed his first target, a commission for an illustrious character. Once Sylvanas learned that he could escape poverty simply by killing, he never stopped. It may seem like a heavy speech, and it is indeed, but Sylvanas never had any moral guidance and would never have received any in Zarkasta, the place where he and dozens of others worked day and night to collect valuable scraps with nothing but bread and payment. Like the other children, he never learned of his true heritage. As soon as he grew up to the point he started walking, he was abandoned to work at the Big Heap, the name given to the mountain of garbage dumped from Kais. Here, every day, many pieces of old gadgets along with all kinds of waste were thrown away. In that vile place, innocence was the first thing to die. Concepts like compassion were nothing more than a tool for gaining your victim's trust. When grown up and the obligation to serve the domain came, his background made Sylvanas the perfect soldier, no emotion, no restriction, no bond. After decades, although the conflicts were over and the soldiers dismissed, the war never ended for the highly skilled warrior Sylvanas became. Armed with his sword and Baldrun, his battle horse, he was hired several times by warlords to locate and eliminate the commanders of an opposing army weeks before an impending conflict, doing the same with their successors. This deceptive move did not ensure victory, but the damage done to the spirit of the opposing army was devastating, which led to less arduous battles or even better surrender. So there's a lot of lore on this, which I'm loving, but I'm going to skip ahead and see if we can find out how he's connected. So it says, if not in life, he would fulfill his wish later, at least to a certain extent. The wealth accumulated over the years allowed Sylvanas to commission the creation of a special chest. Inside it were his precious gems, the works of art, and most importantly, the chain warden, his trusty blade. So after his death, the whispers of the abandoned manor began to spread in the surrounding taverns. One after another, dozens of adventurers died trying to survive his lethal test. So it's kind of locked up. It's commissioned. So it shows... the stained glass shows 4 crucial periods in the life of Sylvanas, and it talks about those. And then you can, of course, see how those are depicted up here at the top of the chest. And then there's more on that, and then it goes into the key. It says, once defeated, all the swords will converge, forming a key that will fall to the ground. If you try to grab it, it weighs the same as all of the swords combined. And then, of course, it goes through the defenses. And then the chain warden, the sword has slept in the sands of forgetfulness for hundreds of years. The sword is light for its size and causes iron dust to disperse into the air as it swings. After some time spent in battle, when the enemy least expects it, they will see themselves enveloped in a blanket of steel dust that will settle around their arms or legs, hindering their movements on defense and making them easier prey. So you get like a magic weapon out of it too, and it talks about that. So how cool is this book? Every time I see one of Diego Pieces works, I'm just so excited because it's just like fun stuff, lovingly illustrated. So the translation of what's in Diego's head to the page has got to be good, right? Because Diego's both the artist and the writer. So you're getting pure creation here. This is Diego's vision on the page, and it is so worth supporting. Especially in a system neutral format, because this stuff can be used in all of your games. OSR, Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, whatever. So I love it. And I mean, look at this map of this place. So cool. And as I said, it works with anything where you need to hide stuff. So if you've got potions you need to hide or other things you need to hide inside these, you can put them in there. So very, very cool. Check it out. It's under Keys and Treasure Chests in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have a book with a really long title, but I like it. It's called The Lost Loot of Sculpin Anne and the Water Devils of Rectangle Pond. And it's a winter scenario by Rowan Studio. And it's by Randy Musso. And Randy's stuff is just stunning. Every time I look at it, I'm just like, see more details that jump out at me as being interesting, and I'm just always excited. It's been a while since we talked about something from Randy, and this one is looking to be one of the best we've seen, so I'm super excited. It says a sidetrack scenario set in a wintry wilderness involving a journey to a frozen pond, old ruins, and treasure, designed for 3 to 6 low-level characters, levels 1 to 3. The challenges contained herein can be modified to fit any level. Maps and illustrations set the scene. Text and information set the scenario. Referees and players set the adventure. Treasure Hunter is closing in on his latest quarry, a portion of the infamous buccaneer Sculpin Anne's lost loot. He hires the characters to find and recover it. The adventure involves trekking a dozen miles across a frozen landscape, crossing an eel-ridden pond, reaching the ruins, securing the treasure, and returning for a reward. So I'm just realizing as I'm reading this that sometimes when we do these videos, there's like a theme that emerges, like almost like a collective subconscious or collective consciousness where we're seeing similar stuff. And what excites me about that is that you could take the books that are similar and put them all together and build a campaign. And that is just awesome. And so this particular book is OSR or system neutral, and the other ones are as well. So even more reason to put them together. So we talked previously about the dungeon backdrop, which was about, you know, this legendary lost location of hidden treasure, and then we just talked about the keys and treasure chests and how things are hidden and locked away and all that stuff. And now this book, with Sculpin and finding this buccaneer's lost loot, you could put all these together and have like a treasure hunter sort of campaign. And the levels are close as well, so you could do you could definitely put them together and build upon each other. So this particular book is 54 pages, and we're going to look inside. And again, you know, I can't say enough about Randy Musso. It is just, the work is always just top notch. So it's a low level scenario, you know, whether you're doing system neutral or OSR. And you get to see, I mean, here you go. Look at this map. So cool. Going through all this stuff. I love it. Beautiful. So yeah, this map is just something. I love it. I love all the maps from Ronin Studio. So here you get into the introduction. It says, a faded tattoo on a palm-sized piece of leathery skin is a clue to the whereabouts of a small portion of Sculpin Ann's lost loot. Believed to be from the body of a former comrade of the ruthless buccaneer, the tattoo depicts an X atop a circle in the center of a larger rectangle. Seemingly meaningless, the mark represents a specific site, or at least that is the conjecture of Mauger Fife. Mauger waits in a rural tap room for adventurers to show up. He's been there a 10-day and has yet to meet anyone worthy of his quest. He'll wait another day, then move on. Mauger is one of the wealthiest merchants in the region. He's amassed a fortune exporting salt, rum, and whiskey from the Bay of Spirits to markets in the south. He's also a treasure hunter who pays well for information on relics and artifacts. Mauger doesn't hunt for treasure himself. That's what adventurers are for. Instead, he collects clues, interprets research, and posts bounties in the hopes that honest, stalwart types will inquire. Mauger has been burned before, taken advantage of by rascals, and roughed up by ruffians. He's been robbed, double-crossed, and conned more times than he can remember, and he's been left for dead twice. So, again, this guy is perfect to be the master behind all the stuff we've looked at today. As far as the treasure theme, he could be kind of secretly behind that dungeon backdrop search, or even introduced earlier, and or the dungeon backdrop search could be after this one if the party's successful. I mean, really cool. It's amazing when stuff just comes together so beautifully to give us a campaign as we go through the new releases. So love that. So you got the characters. It says, welcome to Whitefield, and it says also known as 12 Mile Lodge. And the isometric look at these things, I mean, so cool. Look at how beautiful that is, to be able to show that to your players and say, you know, this is where you're at, with the frozen fields. So fun stuff. And then it gives you some locations in Whitefield. So you got the Basin Treadway, the Eberron Church, the Trading Post, the 12 Mile Lodge, etc. And then it gives you all the background on Whitefield, and then the adventure setup. Why are the characters here? I mean, we're getting to see 24 pages. I'm just going to do a quick scroll through some of this stuff. Look at that. They got a menu in here for the 12 Mile Lodge, and then even a map. I mean, what more could you want? And you got these the proprietor here, details, foes, friends, fodder, the roster, another character here, that says a Feral Ranger and Wolverine. They're the equalizers. It says Alexis is a runaway noble turned Feral Ranger, and Sikkim is a Wolverine. The pair are as wild and untamed as it gets. That would be a fun pair to run into. Alexia, the niece of Baron Cattern Wyvernsbane, and trouble from the day she could run the high-spirited and noble did. So until becoming inexorably lost in the hinterland, far beyond the cozy comforts of a castle, alone, bewildered, but unafraid, Alexis sought to make the wilds her home. Surviving by wit, the charity of trappers and druids, the young noble quickly learned that what was required. Abandoning her heritage, she now considers herself a ranger in a crusade against civilization. She has no beef with settlers, only the lords and merchants that hide behind naive pioneers. 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙬 is a cuddly wolverine that Alexius rescued from a poacher's snare. Shortly afterwards, 𝙤𝙤𝙢 rescued Alexius from the clutches of a tundra bear. The two have been inseparable ever since. So yeah, I love that history. They have a connection. I love the names 𝙤𝙤𝙢 and Alexius, even though I can't say it very well, how they've sort of come together. Cool. And then there's encountering Alexius and 𝙤𝙤𝙢 and that whole what happens with them. And then more. I mean, every one of them so beautifully illustrated here. And you even have a trader in here named Wallace, and different things like Abe's instant elixir, quick acting healing potion. Contains herbs and extracts such as birch, mint, and juniper. Restores D1 plus 4 HP per dose, 2 doses per vial, price 10 GP. And then you got the wildflower salve and the Abe's oil. I mean, this is just an awesome book on its own. So whether you buy this on its own and run it, or you combine it with the other books we talked about, no matter what, if you grab this, you are in for a good time, because the artwork, just scrolling through, is stunning. And I can't believe it's only $3 for 54 pages of that goodness. I mean, the maps, the locations, you can reuse all of this. You may not encounter every one of these characters. You can take them and put them elsewhere. And just as we saw with Alexius, they're so interesting and different. They're not just run of the mill, oh, here's your standard whatever. There's a detail about each of them that was so different. So and then you got these gorgeous maps on top of it. So you got to look for it. It's Lost Loot of Sculpin and in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Nightworld Tabletop RPG Monster Manual Zine for Dungeon Crawl Classics or 3rd edition. Also probably could be easily used with Pathfinder. Might be able to convert it to 5th edition. It's from Bloat Games, $4.99, 60 pages. And it says, the conclave of the apocalypse has begun. Barnabas, the Lord of Vampires, has assembled all of his minions and fellow monsters. Some have speculated at his intentions to kill or enslave all of humanity, to perform a ritual to summon an even more powerful monster to join his fight, or maybe even to slay all of his competition from his fellow monsters. Whatever the real reason the conclave summon, all have answered their master's call. Let the ceremony begin. So, this book is basically a monster manual, and it draws a lot of inspiration from, I think, Castlevania. So that's cool. If you like Castlevania, you can work that in. I mean, look at those cool floating Medusa heads. That's fun. And then you've got a video on how, when this came to Kickstarter, about the book as well. So then it's got quick reference of all the enemies. So you've got the bat, or the Lord Bat, the vampiric bat, the buck jumper, canopy harpies, diving ravens, mudchuckers, mummy twins, jumper skeletons, portal zombies, queen medusas, all throughout this. So it could be really fun. You even have Barnabas, the Lord of the Vampires, here, which is cool. And I love the name Barnabas because it takes me back to Dark Shadows as well. So lots of inspiration here, Dark Shadows and Castlevania. And then the second form for Barnabas, that's an interesting looking form. And then you got Lord Bat and some other creature here. I don't know. That's the buck jumper, it looks like. Okay, cool. So yeah, some fun line art going along with all these, like the canopy harpy. So you can really visualize, you can show that to your players as you play through. Ooh, look at that drifting eye. I love that. Love that. And then you got the fishling, flame hurler. I mean, they all look so fun. Let's read about this floating eye, or drifting eye. So these small eyes drift throughout a dungeon or castle, standing guard against intruders. Due to their metal carapace, they are extremely tough to kill. Their creators often put an alarm system in them to set off a trap or warn a nearby monster if they are not dispatched quick enough. So you get all the stats, and then location, castles, libraries, dungeons, and they have a 1 in 6 chance of dropping treasure. Let's read about the Fishling. The Fishling, these foul beasts, dwell in dark, wet caverns and active sewers, where they relish in ambushing their next meal, whether it is a rat or an adventurer. They are humanoid fishmen that are covered in muck and are able to jump quite high. So, very cool. I like that. And it's got a spitter fishling and then a regular fishling. Yeah, fun stuff. And there's websites online that'll like convert from third edition to fifth edition, or from first edition to fifth edition, whatever, right? They give you tips on how to convert. So you could convert this stuff to fifth edition using online materials. Or if you're experienced, you might already know how to do that. But even just using it as inspiration and creating your own stat blocks to go with the pictures too, if you play fifth edition or some other game, why not? I love it. I think there's so many cool creatures in here, and the illustrations all are by the same artist. It looks like Phil Stone is the artist, so you get that consistency of the look, and I think showing these to the players will be a lot of fun. So you say this is what you see, really, really cool. Can never have enough monsters, especially those with inspiration from classic games. So check it out. It's under Nightworld Tabletop RPG Monster Manual Zine in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Ranger, the Ronin, which is a subclass for basically the Ranger. And it's by Shadeside Entertainment. It's only $1.49 for 7 pages. And Ryan Gerbig is the author. It says the Ronin Ranger is a wandering warrior who follows their own path away from obligations to lords, armies, or duties beyond their desires. These rangers of great and malleable skill carve their own way forward with unbreakable resolve, devoting themselves to the noble path of honor or transcending morality to delve into the vicious path of bloodshed. Alongside this ranger archetype is a fighting style for dragon knights, fighters, and rangers that allows for well-timed wounds to afflict a target upon a blade's sheathing. So that's interesting. This is in addition to a feature for it says this is in addition to an optional features for rangers that replaces their spellcasting to focus more on the particular skills in regard to the hunting their chosen prey, as opposed to druidic magic. So that's cool. I love the flexibility of this, because you're getting that martial style, and then you're also getting this optional feature to replace spellcasting. So it's a lot of times you just get a subclass and it's just okay, here's your features, but you're getting some optional stuff with this one, which is cool. So it says inside you get Ronin magic, so you get some new spells that you learn, of course if you keep the spellcasting. And then also at third level you follow your own path, living either for honor or war. Choose one of the following paths. You can change your chosen path when you level in this class. So your weapon attacks score a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20. You also gain temporary hit points equal to half your ranger level, rounded down when you score a critical hit with a weapon attack. And then Path of Honor, weapon attacks you make during the first round of combat are also made with advantage, and attacks made against you before the start of your first turn in combat have disadvantage. Additionally, you can choose one skill whenever you finish a long rest from Acrobatics, Deception, History, Intimidation, and Persuasion. You become proficient with the skill until the end of your long rest, so you can change proficiency, which would be nice. And then at 7th level, it says when you reduce a creature to 0 hit points with a weapon attack, you can immediately use one of the following features as a bonus action. Calming Breath, you regain hit points equal to 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier. If you follow the Path of Honor, you add half your ranger level rounded down to the hit points regained. Onslaught, you move up to half your movement speed toward a creature you can see and make a weapon attack if you are within range. If you follow the Path of Bloodshed, this attack is made with advantage. So there's some sort of bonuses you get for picking a particular path as you go forward. So that's cool. And you can change them as you go. So it just adds some flexibility, which I like. You get improved extra attack, Steel Resolve at 15th level, where you learn to accept both sides of yourself and temper them. You are immune to being frightened, and you benefit from both options from your Wanderer's Path feature. So then there you go. You're getting extra stuff. Love that. And then you get the whole Ranger specialty, which is where you're becoming more of like a Slayer. And then you also get the fighting style of Fatal Sheathing. I'm not going to read all of this because I want you to come here and explore some of this yourself. But, you got this non-spellcasting ranger option, you get this fighting style, you get this whole subclass, and it's all for a reasonable price of $1.49. So I think that's great. I really appreciate well-priced books. Some books are, I think, way out of the way out of the price range that they should be. A lot of times we'll see a book, might be first time from an author, and they'll put out like a 5-page book and charge $10, and it's like, I don't think so. But there's no rules on the pricing, so can't really say too much about it. Anyway, love this. Think it's a lot of fun, great price, and there's just so much in there to be had for this. And look at this really beautiful artwork that you get to look at as well. So check it out. It's under Ranger the Ronin in the links below. Give it a click. Well, that was our last new release for one of the sites. Before we move on to the second site, a few announcements for you. First of all, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave us a comment. All those things help us get the word out. More people find the videos and get to know about all these great releases if you can do that. And I'll respond to all comments personally. If you can click those links in the video description and support all these awesome creators that we featured this week, that really helps them. This business is tough, so you want to help encourage them to stay in it and creating these awesome titles for you to enjoy and bring to your table. And if you click any of those links and make a purchase, even if we didn't talk about it today, it's going to help support the channel through a small affiliate fee. So we really appreciate it when you do your shopping with us. That's awesome. And if you really want to take it to the next level to support us, you can purchase one of our books. You can go to splinterverse.com to read more about all of those, or click the links in the video description in the section we have on our books. And I'll just tell you about a few of them here now. So our latest one is the Dragonlance Companion. It's 180 pages for DMs and players to really get into Krynn. Everything from subclasses to races, including classic ones like Draconians and Half-Ogres and Thanoi, as well as 2 full-blown adventures, a Tier 1 and a Tier 2 that you can link together for a full campaign. We've got monsters, magic items, encounters, new types of items like legacy items, and even herald items that are connected to the gods, which we profile in massive detail so that you can use the piety system to really interact with the gods. So there's just so much to be found in there for Dragonlance and Krynn if you're into that, or if you want to take these things and put them in another setting, of course. And it's available in print as hardcover or digital, or you can get both for this combo price, where there's no extra charge for the digital. So that's always very cool. Then we've also got Swarms of the Multiverse, which is over 180 pages dedicated to brand new monsters that have some sort of connection to swarms, whether it's they form swarms, they summon swarms, or they control swarms. Each of the 70 new monsters in this book have some sort of connection, and we give them lots of space in the book. Each monster gets a minimum of 2 pages, so you get lots of lore, you get tactics, you get a playlist of the moves that they would use on their stat block. So if you want to quickly run it without reading too much, you can just go through the playlist. We've also got associated things like magic items that are connected to some of the creatures, demiplanes, full demiplanes that you can explore with some of these creatures as well. Then we've got rules for you to create your own swarms that are balanced for 5th edition, so that's really helpful. And then we have other types of swarms, like environmental swarms that don't even have hit points, but are more like hazards or puzzles that your party will have to pass through on their way to whatever the next adventure is. So tons and tons of stuff to really bring swarms to life and help you make a swarm out of any creature, whether it's third party or an official Wizards release. You'll be able to confidently make those swarms using those balanced rules. And again, it's print or digital. Then we've also got our platinum bestsellers here with the Feywild Companion, which is over 150 pages devoted to the Feywild, the plane where everything is Fey, and it's really a fun place to explore. It's a little bit different than the material plane, so you can have a really unique experience that kind of turns things on its head. And this fits well with Wild Beyond the Witchlight or any other Fey experience that you want to have. It's got player subclasses, one for each class that connects to the Fae. It's got magic items, races, lineages, It's even got trinkets, a new type of item called Flowers of the Feywild, which is a new consumable that helps you really feel like you've gone to a fantastical place. But these flowers can be used as a consumable item or like an environmental hazard, which is fun. We got a brand new Domain of Delight with a beautifully illustrated map in the same style as the one in WoW Beyond the Witchlight for Prismeer. We've got full adventures, encounters, monsters. I mean, it's just jam-packed. VTT tokens, all that stuff if you buy the digital, but it's also available in print as well. So you're going to want to check that out. Then there's also our other platinum bestseller, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets. It's devoted to dragons. It's meant to tie into Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, but it can be used on its own. So you've got dragon-themed subclasses, one for each class. You've got trinkets. You've got magic items. You've got horde magic items, draconic gifts. So those things that are in Fizban's, we're expanding and giving you more. So you have more draconic gifts and more horde magic items. You get a brand new familiar, adventure hooks to tie everything together from the DM point of view, so you can make those subclasses NPCs or whatever you want to do. So it's really, really good. It's going to be a hardcover soon. So by the time you watch this, it might already be a hardcover. So you can get the hardcover and or the digital as well. Then we've got our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages, which is devoted to the new concept of lineages that was introduced in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. And it's really fun. It makes your race basically something very personal to you, because lineages are something that is sort of thrust upon your character. It's not how you were born. It's an experience that you've gone through, and it's changed you. And so these are very conflict-driven lineages suitable for any setting, not just Ravenloft. Got 4 of those in there, and then we've got optional rules on how to string those together, so you can go from one lineage to the next, or you can remove a lineage if there's some reason you want to go back to the original race, or just for story purposes you want to remove it. You have that option with this book. And then we've got Potions Unlocked, which is print or digital, and it's over 100 pages, and it's really devoted to taking potions, which are kind of a run-of-the-mill thing where you just say, oh, I'm going to take a healing potion, oh, I'm going to take a healing potion, and make them fun again. It's got optional rules for taste, smell, overdosing on these potions, how to craft the potions. Even with the 30 new potions in here with really cool artwork, we've gone and given you really in-depth origin stories for each of them, that you can have a vendor relate to the players, or you can turn it into an encounter if you want to have the players be responsible for the creation of some of these potions. We even have potion-themed locations, including a potion shop with 2 different stories and a whole set of maps, so you can go to each of the layers of the potion shop, different vendors that are profiled with full inventory lists, a school where you can learn to craft potions and experience various encounters and adventures. And then we've got magical plants and things that you can craft, harvest and craft your potions with. So tons and tons of stuff. The whole point of the Potions Unlocked, or any of the unlocked titles that we're going to do, is to really take something and take it to its limit, give you everything you could ever want, to be the authority on that topic almost, and just really deep dive. Our Swarms book is the same thing. It's anything you could ever want on Swarms. So if you're getting these books, we feel like you're going to have everything you could ever ask for that topic, and that's our goal for you, because we really want the money to go as far as it can, because we do try to keep our prices reasonable, and then by giving you everything we can, we're helping you have that for far into the future. You're going to have the ability to have potions or swarms or whatever our topic is come to your aid at your table. So we hope you'll support us and check out all these awesome titles. Feel free to ask questions in the comments or anywhere if you're interested and unsure. I'm always here to help you. But no matter what, I hope you're clicking links, supporting creators, whether it's us or the others out there, because this is an awesome industry. We're so proud to be part of the TTRPG space, and we appreciate you. So now let's move on to the other site and their new releases. Our first DM's Guild title this week is Camp Silver Lake, a slasher horror Ravenloft domain from Jason Boyers, and it's $2 for 15 pages, and it says it's time to add the genre of 80s slasher horror to Ravenloft. Welcome to Camp Silver Lake, home of the masked, machete-wielding serial killer known as Yannick. You won't see him at first, but once you do, Run. As both a setting and a self-contained adventure, Camp Silver Lake introduces PCs to a gothic survival horror environment, which pays loving tribute to films like Friday the 13th, Sleepaway Camp, and Final Girls, as well as video games like Dead by Daylight and Lakeview Cabin Collection. So it says, enjoy a true hero experience as level 1 PCs contend with a foe who cannot be defeated through the use of mere cantrips or starting abilities. It is an item-focused adventure in which PCs must search cabins for special items to keep 𝙤𝙤𝙀𝙀 at bay, as well as legendary equipment which alone can defeat him. Where is 𝙤𝙤𝙀𝙀's father's axe? 𝙤𝙤𝙀's father's boots? Etc. So very, very cool. You know, Crystal Lake, Michael Myers, all of these things are things that I love. I love the slasher genre, so I'm sure this book is going to be a lot of fun. And it makes sense. I mean, Ravenloft, the new Ravenloft, is all about mimicking existing horror genres. So it says in here, it says, despite featuring slasher as a subgenre of horror fiction, Van Ritten's Guide to Ravenloft does not include any domains which are based around the slasher films of the late 20th century. This is a shame, not only because the genre deserves a place next to the other subgenres that the guide so lovingly includes, but also there's a lot of fun to be had with an 80s style slasher domain of dread. And so they created this, and they talk about some of the inspirational media, and then they've got the adventure overview, which we'll read in a minute. But I love that they're also including some tips for the GMs on how to make it feel more slasher-like. So it says, stay in initiative for the entire adventure. Even when the players agree on what to do, 𝙤𝙤𝙀𝙀 is always on the move. One way or another, his movement and activity should keep pace with the PCs, and initiative is the easiest way to ensure this. Don't be afraid to kill PCs, have backup characters ready, tell the players exactly what the various items do, don't make them guess or figure it out. The scenario assumes that only a few PCs, if any, should survive. So this is definitely, going to be a real memorable sort of one-shot experience. There's also some tables in here to kind of tell you what the cabin, because it's a camp with several cabins, right? So you're going to have different lighting, like is it pitch black or is it brightly lit with 4 candles? Then you've got cabinets and what's in those. There could be a potion of haste or steel-jawed trap or alchemist fire in these cabinets. So you've got little tables for that. But let's read a little bit about the adventure overview. So it says, Camp Silver Lake is a pine forest clearing a few acres in size next to a deep, warm lake. 8 log cabins, each 20 feet wide and 60 feet long, encircle a fire pit at the clearing's center. A rustic horse barn lies a mere 100 feet from the camp's edge, with the evergreens along Silver Lake's shore conceal 𝙤𝙀𝙀𝙀's gruesome lair. The edges of the domain are shrouded in Shadowfell mist, which leads would-be escapees back in the direction they came from. So that's really cool. It's this creepy sort of setup with all these cabins in a circle. You've got fire, you've got the mist pushing you back in if you try to get out, which is a really great way to stifle some of the directions you don't want the players to go. You say, oh, you go into the mist and you come out the other side and you're facing the campfire again. How did that happen? It says, when level 1 PCs arrive at Camp Silver Lake, they should immediately know, as if by instinct, that something hunts them, something powerful and relentless. That thing is the Dark Lord, 𝙤𝙀𝙀𝙀. 𝙤𝙀𝙀𝙀 is designed to outmatch the PC's combat abilities. Instead of fighting him immediately, PCs should search for items which they can use to slow 𝙤𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀 down, confuse him, and ultimately defeat him. So yeah, I think this could be really fun. You could even, homebrew a sequel, have 𝙤𝙀𝙀𝙀 show up in some sort of equivalent of Manhattan, like Waterdeep, and try to do revenge. There's so many ways to go about this. Maybe the authors will do 𝙤𝙀𝙀𝙀 in Manhattan kind of thing. But it's really cool that somebody has done this and given you the opportunity to feel like you're playing in a slasher film. I think it can be a lot of fun. There's a lot you can do with this, and it's only $2. So why not check it out? It's in the video description links under Camp Silver Lake. Give it a click. Next, we have the extensive Eldritch Expansion by Alexander Vigna, and it's $9.99 for 111 pages. And it says, the extensive Eldritch Expansion is exactly what it sounds like. It will extensively expand the Eldritch qualities of your Dungeons and Dragons games. The goal here is to integrate elements of cosmic horror seamlessly into the existing game. You'll still be playing D&D, just with some added monsters, items, effects, and the hallmarks of a type of fiction typically only mentioned briefly, brought more into the spotlight. So yeah, you don't get a lot of cosmic horror in D&D. You get little snippets, a warlock patron here, a creature there, but it's not like a massive thing done by Wizards of the Coast. And there's lots of games out there where you can play that, either video games or tabletop games, and so it is quite popular to explore that side of sort of horror. So it says within it you get 5 new subclasses with some cosmic flavoring. And you get more character creation options for players in the form of the mutated lineage, 4 backgrounds and 5 optional features. You get 11 new spells, a set of tools and mechanics to help DMs plan and run cosmic horror themed games, Menagerie of 44 original monsters, 10 new magic items, including a few artifacts, and 100 eldritch trinkets. So quite a well-rounded assortment of things, which is awesome. I love supplements like this that have a little bit of everything, because then you're pretty much guaranteed to get some stuff you can use. And then let's say you use 10 things from this book in a campaign. Then later you come back and use another 10 things, or you use some of the same, 2 of the same things and 8 more new things, right? It's a book that just keeps giving you stuff, right? And, it might not all fit your campaign, but then you can use the other stuff later, or it might inspire you to homebrew something. So love seeing books of this size with this many offerings inside. So here we go. Let's look inside. You can see nicely laid out content. They've got the Dimensionalist for the Artificer, the Path of the Primordial for the Barbarian. You got Aberrant Knight, so for the Fighter. So lots of stuff. You got the Mutated Lineage, which sounds interesting. I hope we can look at that one. You got the Cosmic Horror backgrounds, Alienist, Dark Artist, Distant Explorer, Professor, etc. And then you've got the spells. So all these different spells, those look fun. Gravity Well, Psychic Blast, Dungeon Master tools, Bestiary, everything from anomalies like the color anomaly, the crystal anomaly, etc., all the way down to the void dragons, mutant animals, and stuff like that. And then a bunch of items like Blood of a Great Old One and Tentacle Whip. So you get your introduction, then you get your subclasses. So there's got the Dimensionalist, Artificer. So yeah, we just get to see the Artificer, which makes sense. You don't want to give away everything. So let's just read about the Dimensionalist Artificer. Dimensionalists are brilliant arcane scientists who use their mastery over space to dart around the battlefield with incredible freedom and briefly call upon eldritch beings to attack their foes. With practice, they even learn to summon powerful creatures from other planes and manipulate the battlefield by teleporting friends and foes alike. So that's cool. It sounds like they're going to be pretty powerful, and able to teleport friends and foes is going to be super helpful. So at 3rd level, they get expertise with Tinkerer's tools and 1 skill of their choice, which you are already... So you get expertise instead of proficiency on that skill, okay? And then your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make that uses Tinkerer tools and the chosen skill. And then Dimensionalist spells, you get some extra spells on access to extra spells. And then you get at 3rd level also a teleportation device. So your scientific pursuits have led you to making somewhat successful teleportation device. With an hour of work, you can turn the chest portion of a suit of armor you are wearing and proficient with into a teleportation device, provided you have Smith's or Tinkerer's tools in hand. The device is calibrated to your mind and can only be operated by you. Additionally, the device counts as a spellcasting focus. While wearing the armor, you can use a bonus action to teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. Either when you leave or when you arrive, you can choose to unleash a burst of force. Creatures in a 10-foot radius around you must make a dex saving throw against your spell save, taking force damage on a failed save, half as much on a successful one, and it increases as you level. And then you can use it a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, and you get the uses back when you finish a short rest, half of them back after you finish a short rest, and all of them after a long rest. So I like this. It's really fun. I like how flexible it is, because you've got the option when you teleport to do that burst of damage or not, which is nice. It grows in power as you do, and it also gives you different things back on a short rest versus a long rest. So that's cool. Good design there. And then there's teleportation mishaps. So it says if you would like to use this feature after having run out of uses, you may still do so, but you must roll on the teleportation mishaps table to determine a random outcome. You must declare your intent of whether and where to activate the force burst before you know the mishap. So that's a cool thing. So it says the first one is you do not teleport and no force burst occurs. Nothing happens and the bonus action is wasted. But all the way up to 6, where it says you travel through time and will arrive at the end of your next turn, ceasing to exist in the meantime. So that's fun too, right? You miss a whole turn. So, no risk, no reward, right? But that's just the start of it. There's a bunch of other stuff here. We'll just jump to the 15th level because I want you to read everything. It says you have made significant improvements to your teleportation device at 15th level, and you now have double the uses before you incur mishaps. Additionally, the distance you can teleport increases to 90 feet, as do the ranges of your hostile teleportation, which is the 9th feature we didn't read. But again, I want you to read all this yourself, and really, I want you to seriously consider this book because you're going to get so much out of it, and it's really exciting to me. So check it out. It's in the video description links under Extensive Eldritch Expansion. Give it a click. Next, we have Lost Pages of the Mad Leper's Grimoire, an assortment of bizarre spells from Samuel Bouchard. It's free, and it is, it looks like 6 or 8 pages. The print's really small, so I can't see. But either way, free is good, right? It says it's an assortment of bizarre spells, some by the Mad Leper himself, others by the hand of various wizards of the multiverse, such as Elminster, Tasha, and Mordenkainen. Ranging from the simple and ever reliable cantrip to the planar bending 9th level 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬, this short list of 27 spells builds upon the collection that Leper's Harry first started in the previous book. So there was another book, Ravings of the Mad Leper. And we may have covered it on the show. It sounds familiar, but we covered over 1,000 books in our first year, and we're in our second year now, so it's a blur at this point. Anyway, so yeah, lots of spells, 27 spells for free. I'm definitely going to download this. So you've got all these spells here. You can see Cadaver Pantomime all the way up to, which is, a cantrip, all the way up to a state transference. And you got some that are rituals, and you got a mixture of classes that they apply to: cleric, sorcerer, warlock, wizard, bard, paladin, ranger. Seems like almost everything is covered here. I don't see artificer, but that's okay. That's like the bonus class, so it's not. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there is one for the artificer. Nice. Okay, maybe more than one. We just didn't read very well. Cool. So look at this. I mean, what a nice spread. I mean, this is, lots and lots of stuff over different levels for these different classes. So I love that. You don't always get that even distribution of spells. So let's just read a few of the spells here for you. So Anti-Vermin Barrier. You designate a point within a range in a 10-foot cube. Centered on that point, you create an invisible force field that repels insects, rodents, spiders, snakes, worms, and similar vermin. Tiny beasts and swarms of tiny beasts must succeed on a wisdom save or be incapable of entering the area. Tiny beasts and swarms of tiny beasts that start their turn in the force field must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be forced to use their movement to leave it. And then when you cast it at higher levels, it increases in size. And that one is pretty fun. All right, let's look for another one that we can read here. I mean, there's so many choices. Okay, Fey Passage, that looks fun. It's first level, 1 action, and it's a range of self. It says you touch a hole or gap at least 1 inch wide that connects to another space. If the other side is no more than 5 feet away and is wide enough for you to fit in, you magically squeeze through the gap and appear on the other side. And so when you get to higher levels, you can bring other people with you through that little gap. So that's cool. That could be useful for sure. Let's see what else we got. Invisibility to undead. Undead creatures with an intelligence score of 5 or less that are unaware of your presence ignore you, and you are considered invisible to them. The spell ends if you attack or cast a spell. Yeah, that could come in handy. Let's see what else. Let's read Leprous Harry's Paradox. It's a 5th level illusion, range of self. You mumble a stream of logically inconsistent mental jumps and contradictory fallacies manifesting around you as illusory visual distortions. For the duration of the spell, you can use a bonus action and produce one of the following effects. If the chosen effect targets at least one creature, all creatures affected can make an intelligence saving throw. If any of the targets succeed on the saving throw, the chosen effect doesn't work. Once the spell ends, remaining ongoing effects are immediately dispelled. So you have confusing concept. A creature you see within 15 feet of you gets perplexed and suffers from a short-term madness chosen at random until the start of your next turn. Deceptive perspective. A wall or ceiling within 15 feet of you can be walked upon as if gravity pulled crosswise to its surface. And then you've got recognition dilemma. A creature you can see within 15 feet of you gets muddled and cannot distinguish entities surrounding it until the start of your next turn. The next time the creature would target a creature or object for any action, bonus action, or reaction, its target is instead determined at random amongst valid targets within range. So fun stuff. There's three more, or 2 more with higher level upcasting. I'm not going to read them all because I want you to come here and read them. But yeah, there's a diversity of spells in here, all these different levels, and it's totally free. So you've got to grab it and check it out. It's in the links below under Lost Pages of the Mad Leper's Grimoire. Give it a click. Next, we have Mysteries of the Lyrandar Lighthouse. Strange things are afoot at the new Lyrandar Lighthouse. What's the secret behind the deadly radiance, and who would kill to keep that secret? And it's by Done With Deserts, and it's $3.50 for 48 pages. And it says Tier 1 PCs come together with an action-packed start and then quickly find themselves embroiled in intrigue. They must survive a burning ship, then a raging river, and find help far above in a lighthouse atop a towering sea stack. But there are secrets in the lighthouse that some would kill to know or kill to protect. The standalone adventure works well on its own as a prelude to reaching Sharn or as a first step in a bigger campaign. There are new treasures, unique challenges, traps, puzzles, and combat, dark secrets to be revealed, plus NPCs with strong motivations that can be used again and again. So yeah, it sounds like a fun one. Let's look inside. So you get, it says introduction supporting details. So it shows you how the layout works. They've got little color coding for challenges and icons for DM notes, etc. Then you get the adventure overview, a reason and backstory for the party. You get some Eberron lore, and then you get your adventure synopsis as well, your dramatis personae, and then background details. So yeah, you're getting a lot of stuff, and you get to see 25 pages in this preview, so you really get to know a lot about the adventure. It's a 48-page adventure, so that's about half of it. But it shows you like how the prep phase, beam attack phase for dealing with the ship, being on the ship and doing stuff. So ship a fire event sequence when there's going to be it looks like there's going to be a fire on it, so you have all these steps to go through to put out the fire, and then you've got the crew starting locations, etc. So this is pretty thorough. They've got things mapped out. Nice little map of the river they're going to be on. Oh, I like this of the lighthouse. That's a really cool drawing. And then you've got all kinds of stuff, and you can see the color coding here, DM notes, Feldan's suggestions, so all sorts of stuff. Very well organized, I'm finding this to be. So that's always helpful, especially with an adventure, because you're gonna have to find stuff quickly. So we'll read a little of the flavor text, a little of the synopsis, so you can get an idea of what's gonna happen in the adventure. But yeah, I think this looks really fun and well put together, which is always helpful. So it says the adventure begins with the PC sailing on the Tempest, a House Lyrandar licensed ship on the Dagger River en route to the mega city Sharn. The ship is seriously damaged by energy beams from the lighthouse. The PCs survive and reach the dock at the base of the lighthouse sea stack. The ship's captain advises the PCs to get up to the lighthouse and summon help. At the lighthouse, House Lyrandar is developing a dangerous new magical technology using a radiant elemental bound into a large dragon shard. A uniquely intelligent and curious kobold and his crew crashed on the lighthouse island a few days before the PCs. He has been experimenting with the secret dragon shard and inadvertently used it to damage the PC ship. The basic goal for the PCs to escape the sea stack where they are initially stranded. They may also need to get help for the shipwreck crew, but there are many other options. The PCs can explore the lighthouse complex and discover the hidden cave inside the sea stack. Along the way, PCs may uncover some House Lyrandar secrets and engage the kobold invaders, as well as rescue some captives. PCs may disable a rogue elemental in the dragon shard that could harm all near or in the lighthouse. The PCs may elect to summon help from nearby Torch Keep, or they may escape on a magical boat they earn from an NPC. So all kinds of stuff going to happen, which sounds fun. And it looks like they've got a decent amount of characters. Like it says, Felden, mysterious, very observant writer who accompanies the PCs, knows much more about the lighthouse than he admits. So that's the one kind of giving advice throughout the adventure, it looks like, at various points. You've got, let me zoom in a little bit. It's hard to read this one. 𝙤𝙘𝙘𝙀, and a winged kobold, leader of the kobold infiltrators. Bracer, damaged warforged, working for House Lyrandar, supports the lighthouse and research staff, captured by the kobold invaders. So one of the descriptions on the catalog was that these are really motivated NPCs, so you can use them again and again. And it talks about how one is a secret agent here. It says the adventure starts with the action first and then assembles the PCs into a party. It sets a solid foundation of how and why the party came together. No, you meet in a tavern trope here, so that's fun too. I like that they're doing that. So yeah, you don't have to go through that whole step at the beginning as well. So let's read just a little bit about the sea stack here. It says the lighthouse sits atop a sea stack, a natural massive pillar of rock in the river. Cut free from the surrounding cliffs by the relentless current, the sea stack sits just at the edge of watery semicircular area in the cliffs. The sea stack tower sits alone more than 85 feet from the nearest edge of the mainland. The uneven rock pillar soars more than 100 feet up from the river. The lighthouse atop the pillar reaches higher still. The first 50 feet of the sea stack is smooth and clear of vegetation. Farther up, the pocked surface is covered with lush vegetation. Birds soar and wheel from the tower, landing and launching from hidden nests. Near the sea stack's top edge, a large cave opening and dock-like platform are visible. A ceramic pipeline held by metal brackets runs from the sea stack surface down into the surging water below. A set of metal rail runs from top to bottom of the sea stack. Partway up the sea stack, a lift platform sits between the rails on one side, and a counterweight sits on the opposite side of the rails. The lift platform is aligned with a wooden platform extended from the sea stack. So very detailed description of what's there. So you can paraphrase that if you don't want to go through all of it, but you can kind of give them the picture of every little bit of this. And it's a good intro to the sea stack, so that a lot's going to be happening there because it's a natural structure. And it's been modified by House Lyrandar. So this is where the action's going to be. And you got to find out how to get out of there at the end. But it says here, DM notes, the NPC Feldan, who escaped the sinking ship with the PCs, is a non-combatant. If necessary, he can prompt for next steps. So then he has a suggestion. So as a first step, let's figure out what we have for resources. I'm afraid I'm not much help. I'm just a writer from Stormreach. How about you? Got any skills, talents, or ideas for saving us? So, you get some dialogue suggestions as well, which is great because you can just slip those in and they won't even realize that you're kind of maybe helping steer them without steering them. Good map of the lift here. I mean, I feel like they've thought of everything with this. It's going to be, I think, an adventure where you're not going to have to do a bunch of extra prep. And to get 48 pages for $3.50, that's a screaming deal. So I think you should grab it. It's in the links below under Mysteries of the Lyrandar Lighthouse. Give it a click. Next, we have the latest in the Recharge series from Adam Hancock. It's for Tales from the Yawning Portal, which was an anthology of adventures, and it's 18 pages for $2.95. And basically, there are recharge abilities for monsters in all the different books that have monsters. And not all of them have that. I mean, you'll see it occasionally, but there's a lot of monsters that are missing those. And so the point of this series from Adam is to give you recharged abilities for basically everything. So any monster referenced in Tales from the Yawning Portal, whether it was from some other book being referenced there, like Monster Manual, or it's created for Tales from the Yawning Portal. If you buy this book, you're going to have recharged abilities for all of them, including 165 of them. So that's really cool. And it's going to give you those options to give them a recharge ability. And, I don't have time to DM anymore, but if I did, I would use this series because sometimes you just need to tweak the monster mid-combat so that people can have more of a challenge than they had. Maybe it's underpowered compared to where you thought the party was going to be, so maybe you give them a quick recharge ability. Maybe you even take it off of recharge and make them use it just, an extra time or something so that you can kind of get things back on track. It's behind the scenes. It's behind the screen. They don't know you did this. You can have an explanation for why the creature's recharged, and you go along your merry way. This book series and then the Bloodied series, I think, are great for just tuning those monsters in the middle of the adventure, because especially since they're both of these series are written using the book as the guide. So if you're running Tales from the Yawning Portal, if you're running Monsters from the Monster Manual, whatever books you're using, you're going to have Bloodied books and Recharge series books to do that. Now, Recharge is a new series, so it's going to take Adam a while to get the books out for every series, but you can already see down here there's a whole bunch of them. So, and they're all cheap. You can even get a bundle for 50% off. So if you click our link and then come here and then click that, you can get the bundle and get going, get your Recharge series built up so that you have these to tune. But as I've said in other videos when we talked about the series, it's not just to tune the monster in mid-fight. You can start with this in place, or you can take some of these. I mean, there's 165, and not all of them will be portable, but some of them can be applied to creatures you've homebrewed, or they can be applied to other existing creatures. So lots of flexibility for a low cost here. You can see the Yawning Portal covers a lot of creatures because it goes from Aboleth all the way to zombie. So you're going to get all the recharge for all of those. And you get the introduction to how all of it works, and then it goes right into some of the monsters. So let's look at the animated armor one. So it has a recharge of 6, and its ability is called Dawn Armor. A medium or small creature within 5 feet of the armor must succeed on a DC 10 Dex saving throw or be engulfed. The target must have a head and the same basic arrangement of limbs as a humanoid. The target can choose to fail its saving throw. While within the armor, the target is restrained and the armor takes only half the damage dealt to it, rounded down, while the target takes the other half. If the armor moves, the engulfed target moves with it. The armor can have only one creature engulfed at a time. A creature can take its action to remove the armor by succeeding on a strength check. If the armor is incapacitated or destroyed, an engulfed creature is no longer restrained by it and can remove the armor as an action. So this is really fun. I could see this being used in a lot of different ways. It could be the armor strangely wants to protect something and it's throwing itself onto another creature, like an enemy creature, or even a PC or NPC. That could be a really interesting story point, that this armor is, for whatever reason, attached itself to this NPC, and so you're like, what is going on? But then you realize, okay, it's taking some of the damage and it's helping here, so we'll just let it do its thing. It's weird, but we'll go with it. It could also be a problem, maybe the armor's latching on to a creature and dragging it out of the fight, or dragging it somewhere else. So there's so many ways to use this, and it definitely seems to fit with this animated armor doing shenanigans. So I like that. And that's just one. There's so many in here. We're going to find another fun one to read. So let's look at the Deathlock White. So there's 2 in here. Hold the Line, recharge 5 to 6, and then Spider Climb 5 to 6. So for Hold the Line, the white makes 2 grave bolt attacks. If the white hits a creature with either attack, the target takes an extra 4 damage and its speed becomes 0 till the end of the turn. So yeah, that could be cool to have that kind of different attack come in there in the middle of a fight. And then you've got Spider Climb for 1 minute. The white has a climbing speed of 20 feet and can climb difficult surfaces, including upside down on ceilings, without needing to make an ability check. So yeah, that could be surprising to people. They're not expecting that. Some of these things in these books, in the Recharged and Bloodied series, they they can mix it up. You know, you have these players that like are also DMs, so they kind of know the monsters, even though maybe they try to pretend not to know, you know, for their character's point of view. But they know all these abilities. So when you surprise them with these little ones, it can keep them on their toes too. So I recommend the whole series. You can click the link for Recharge Tales of the Yawning Portal, go down and get 50% off that bundle, or, you know, just purchase this one and try it out. Whatever works for you, but I definitely recommend it. So look for it in the video description links. It's under Recharged. Give it a click. Next, we have Wondrous Boss Fights Aberrations by Rob Waller and Spirit of Envy. It's 27 pages, and it says, make your boss fights more engaging. The Wondrous Boss Fights series looks at making the major boss fights of your campaign more memorable by providing a system where a powerful boss creature can activate at multiple points on the initiative tracker using a variety of actions with different energy costs. In many cases, the boss creature will also have targetable hit locations that can be damaged or maimed to provide the players with an advantage in the fight. Many aberrations have powerful effects linked to tentacles, eye stalks, and other appendages, giving DMs plenty of choice on how to spend the creature's energy each turn. Conversely, being able to target these locations adds a wealth of new options and solutions to the players. So I like this. I think, you know, as a player, I sometimes am like, you know, it's just we gotta wait till the monster's turn, and then the monster goes, and then it's like all of us again, and it's like it just doesn't make sense because you know, it's a monster, it's a big boss, it should be doing things, right? So hearing this book and this series are going to tackle that and give you options. Again, I love these things. We just talked about extra recharge abilities for monsters, and now we have another series that's going to give you extra options for things to happen throughout the fight. You can take charge of your fights and really balance on the fly. Yes, you should measure everything out and check your CR rating against your party composition and your average party level and all that stuff. But we all know that isn't an exact science, and that sometimes players advance faster than planned or slower than planned. So you might have to balance on the fly. So you could even just plug in one of these things as an extra powerful burst, something that just happens, right? And then go back to normal, to just kind of try to even the fight out a little bit if you're realizing that maybe you didn't balance properly. But hopefully you can just use the whole thing, because it sounds like a really fun system. But I just want to point out that extra use for this kind of stuff. So you've got in here, you've got the Aboleth, and then its lair, the Belhanath, the Beholder, and the Beholder's lair. It's all the way down through the Starspawn and the Visceral Orb. So lots of aberration goodness in here. Goes on how to use it, talks about actions and how much energy different things are, because you're going to have to spend that energy as you go through the initiative tracker, because the point is that this monster is doing different things at different times. So you can see just in this first stat block here, we got Tentacles 5 energy, Enslaving Gaze is 8 energy, Psychic Drain is 7 energy. So different energy levels to do different things. And then hit locations, the eyes have their own little armor class and hit points. And if it's damaged, it's going to, it says plus 2 energy cost to Enslaving Gaze. All creatures charmed by Enslaving Gaze may immediately repeat the saving throw if successful. So it weakens one of the abilities, right? It weakens the Enslaving Gaze. Maimed, cannot use Enslaving Gaze. Any creatures currently charmed by Enslaving Gaze are no longer charmed. So it goes through. So it starts with 40 hit points. When it gets down to half, it increases the energy cost to Enslaving Gaze, and you know, they get to do their save immediately. When it's completely down to 0, you cannot use Enslaving Gaze, and any creatures are, you know, automatically released from the charm, right? So really cool kind of way to handicap, for lack of a better word, or disable the creature in mid-fight, at least part of it. And again, this can be used on the fly, so you could all of a sudden, okay, this thing is way too powerful, I've overtuned it, let's bring in this, if they focus on the eyes, and you can have an NPC say, go for the eyes or something, right? And then you start tracking this damage separately, and then before you know it, it can't use enslaving gaze, and you say, its eye has, burst into flame and, is unusable or whatever, right? And then you've got the lair and all the extra actions you get from that. And then, you go down here into 𝙬𝙀, and you got all the energy, and it's got tentacles that can be damaged or maimed. So in this example, any creature currently grappled by the tentacles released when it gets down to half on the tentacles, and maimed when the tentacle has 0 hit points, it's destroyed and cannot be used. So any creature currently grabbed by that tentacle is released. So if you look at tentacles, it says the 𝙬𝙀 has 4 tentacles, right? So as you go, it could lose a tentacle, and then, it's only able to grapple 3 instead of 4, and 2 instead of 4, and 1 instead of 4, etc., right? So pretty cool. Although he looks good with tentacles, it'd be sad to lose those. Anyway, it's fun. It's a nice way of doing it, and I'm sure the energy system is cool too, to be able to just say, okay, you have to use that. So it says, rather than getting the usual action, move, and bonus action, boss creatures make multiple actions during a round. Each of these actions has a specific energy cost that moves the boss's position on the energy tracker, indicating the next initiative value at which it can act. Oh, okay, that's good too. It's bouncing around that initiative tracker instead of always being at multiple spots. I like that even better than what I was imagining. So that's cool. Yeah, this is a fun tweak on things. I really think you should check it out, especially for $4.99 to get 27 pages and all this goodness, and from some really good creators. So check it out. It's under Wondrous Boss Fights Aberrations. Give it a click, and I look forward to more in this series as well. All right, that was our last new release for this week. Before you go, let me mention our exclusive discount coming out on Monday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on all of our social media channels at Splinterverse. So you got They Came From Beyond the Stars by Milos Gawecki, who is a great designer and has worked on many Splinterverse media products. It's $3.95 normally, but it's going to be on sale for you at a screaming good deal. And it's sold 51 copies. It's a best silver seller, and 101 copies. Silver seller is 101, and this particular book includes cosmic horror stuff. So you get 5 cosmic horror themed subclasses, and then you get 5 magic items and 8 new feats. So really cool stuff. With the Artificer, you get the Chthonic Originator, so you can study an ominous lodestone and learn to wield its powers. You get the Way of the Entropic Void. You can't stop entropy. Reach out to this inescapable force and extend your powers. Paladin Oath of the Feasting Vast. Spread the corruption of the twisted hunger of Zergoth before you're called before its fetid embrace. Sorcerer's Origin, Dark Side of the Moon. The shadow cast across the surface of the moon holds chilling secrets of the multiverse and is a terror that allows unthinkable horrors of the far realm to slip in. And then Otherworldly Patron, the Obscure Star, attuned to the abnormal powers of the Eldritch Stars, including a new Pact of the Stars and 5 new invocations. So very cool. I really, really like this. I've looked at it before, and I just found it really interesting. And as I said, Milos is a great designer, so I'm excited for you to check this out. And it's going to be on sale at an amazing, amazing discount. You're going to definitely want to take advantage of that one. So that's it for this week. I really appreciate you watching. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment. All of that helps the algorithm, and I'll respond to all those comments, and share the video around on your social media or with friends to help get eyeballs on these titles. It's even more important now because a lot of people aren't purchasing Dungeons and Dragons stuff because they're mad at Wizards of the Coast. But I'm here to tell you, Dungeon Masters Guild, only 20% goes to Wizards. The rest goes to small businesses, people, like myself or Milos here. And so you're supporting these people's livelihoods. So it's good to purchase Dungeon Masters Guild stuff and DriveThruRPG stuff during this time. DriveThru, Wizards gets nothing, so don't stop purchasing. I know some of you aren't sure you're going to stay with 5th edition, but you can always adapt these books to other systems. And, we've covered OSR stuff and system neutral stuff this week as well. So please keep supporting third-party creators. We need you. And hopefully the OGL situation will resolve amicably. It's not looking good. The latest draft it's got some challenges with it. So you might want to, if you want to support creators, you might want to look up some of the challenges. I've got a thread on Twitter about it. There's a lot of videos from creators on YouTube about the issues with the current draft that's up for survey. And if you're so inclined to help, consider filling out the survey on D&D Beyond and sharing some of the feedback. Make your own judgments, read through it yourself, or hear from these creators and let them show you some of the points of dispute, and fill in that survey and help spread the word, because we do need help to convince Wizards that they need to change course and be more open rather than closed with what's supposed to be the open gaming license. But that said, I do hope you check out all the links and all the books we've covered this week. Click those links. And if you're going to shop, maybe stop by one of our videos and click any link before you start, so that we can get a small affiliate fee as well to support the channel. And of course, we have 7 books, including our newest Dragonlance Companion, listed in the video description links. Buying those helps support the channel. And they're all discussed at splinterverse.com as well if you want to read more about them. And if you're a creator out there, all I can say is please fill out the survey for the OGL. Look at it, study it, look for our thread on Twitter, going through the issues. If you can't find it, message me and I'll send you a link directly, because I do want everybody to participate so Wizards gets that feedback. And just hang in there. We're going to figure it out. There's other systems being developed as well. So one way or another, things will get resolved and we'll all know what we're going to do next. I know being in limbo is painful, annoying, and frustrating, but just keep on writing. You can always convert things to other systems. Don't let this stop you. Don't let, this sort of problem win. We're gonna overcome this. Okay, so hang in there, and thank you all for watching and supporting the channel. I really appreciate it, and it means a lot to me. Until next time, happy adventuring.